It's the 2nd of November and I want to make some pumpkin muffins. It's been a little while since we caught up. I've been traveling for a little while. I sort of made a video right before I went on holidays, and then I was away for like a week and a half, and it's been a couple of days since I've been back now. So I thought I'd catch you up a little bit on how my writing has been going recently. And just life in general. We can just have a chatty little baking session, if you will. Most of that went from the cup. I made some pumpkin muffins for work for Halloween the other day. I made some pumpkin cookies in my previous video, and I made a bunch of pumpkin puree for that, and I had like a ton of it left over. But because I wasn't really thinking ahead, like by the time I finished those, I was really tired, and I had some guests, well, one guest coming around in the evening. I just chucked the entire rest of the pumpkin puree into one box and put it in the freezer, and I didn't really think about portioning it off at all. So the entire thing was frozen as one block, which meant that when I took it out to make pumpkin muffins, I still had a bunch of pumpkin puree left over. But I can't refreeze it a second time, so we are making a second batch of pumpkin muffins. Because they were absolutely delicious. I improvised these the first time round, but I'm just gonna follow the same recipe. It's my go-to muffins recipe, but just with pumpkin instead of lemon. I will link the normal recipe in the description, and it's just add pumpkin and pumpkin spice and remove the lemon and pop seeds, basically. But yeah, while we work on this, I wanted to catch you up on how my writing's been going, because the last thing that I really talked to you about was basically trying to prep for my holiday. I had quite a lot of just like outlining that I wanted to get done before flying home to Spain, so that I could just, while I was traveling, still work on drafting, but not have to really do the thinking work of like outlining new chapters. And at the time, I was feeling really optimistic, and I said that I wanted to outline enough chapters so that I had the option of writing one chapter per day while I was on holidays. I was on holidays for 9 days. I've written 2.5 chapters. And that's including the writing I did on flights. It's fine, it's fine. The good news, however, I need a spoon. The good news, on the other hand, is that writing has been feeling a lot more fun. So right before I left, I had that sort of like mindset of like, oh, I have to get all this done because I'm falling so behind, blah blah blah, getting way too much in my head over goals and deadlines that don't actually mean anything. And while I was on holidays, I haven't really wanted to get into this a lot on my channel because I'm just trying to keep this relevant to writing. I don't really want to go into my personal family problems, but I was dealing with family problems while I was traveling. Obviously I knew that in advance. I was just hoping I could carve out like an hour or so per day to work on my book, which didn't really happen. But it really made a difference in how I started to think about my writing, because while I was still around here, I was just writing for the sake of getting progress done. And while I was on holidays, I was writing as an escape, which is the best way to write, really. I was writing because I absolutely loved that world, and because I wanted to spend time in that world and with those characters. Even when I barely had time or just mental and emotional energy to do writing, I still wanted to just live there and spend time with my characters. And it just, like, I only did 2.5 chapters, but the work I did on those 2.5 chapters felt really fun, and I was really engaged with it, and I was just really enjoying getting into my story and getting sucked into it. So I'm hoping that now that I'm back and I've had that little like shift in attitude a little bit, that it's gonna get a little bit easier again. Hopefully, unless I get completely overwhelmed by work again. Which is bound to happen. I've been back for 2 days and I'm already like stressed and exhausted. But it's fine. It's fine. That being said, I am extremely behind on my goal of finishing the book this year. And conveniently, it is the 2nd of November. Yesterday was a bit of a washout because honestly, I was so tired after my holiday. Like, I flew back on Wednesday, but then I went straight back to work on Thursday and Friday. My flight was also like 2 hours late, and then the train was cancelled and I had to take a bus. So I ended up getting home like 3 hours later than I meant to, and then I had to get up at 6 a.m. to go to work the next day. So yesterday I had some social plans in the morning and then basically just passed out after lunch. Like I wasn't planning on falling asleep, but I don't know where the afternoon went. This little baking vlog thing was supposed to happen yesterday and I was planning on having a really productive writing weekend. The weekend will now be over in 5 hours and I've written for a total of 15 minutes, but it will get better, I hope. Where was I going with this? Oh, it's November and I want to set some writing goals because it's the whole, you know, November writing challenge. Even though I'm not like actively participating in any sort of November-y goal, I'm trying to finish the book this year. And I think in order to do that, I would just like to set myself the goal of actually properly finishing the outline in November, because I didn't quite finish that before my holidays. And I have 22 chapters left. So I want to try and just maybe write like 8 of them, so then I would have 14 left. Yes, that's right, 14 left in December, which I think could be feasible, maybe. I guess really where I'm going with this is from a like on paper perspective, like just looking at my process and where I am in the story. I have no reason to feel hopeful. Like, I'm just so behind right now, but I am feeling hopeful and it's just so nice. Like, I'm just feeling really positive about my writing at the minute and I'm really looking forward to spending some proper amount of time working on it. Hello there, I am coming to you from this ever so slightly awkward angle for a very good reason. I mentioned that I've just come back from a trip to visit family, but what I didn't mention is that on my return from that trip to visit family, my laptop sort of broke. That poor thing is such a trooper. I got it quite cheap. It wasn't meant to last me for 6 years, but it has. It was very much on its last legs. And for the past couple of months I've had this problem where the A key doesn't quite work. So if I've been using it for a while it's fine, but if I first open the lid it sort of gets stuck, and then once I press it multiple times it starts working, and then it continues working until the next time I close the lid and reopen it, and then it gets stuck again. And that's been fine, you know, it's not the best. As a person that mostly uses her laptop for writing, the A key is a key component of writing a book, as you might imagine. However, on my return from my holiday, from my very long flight, followed by a train, followed by a bus, I think I must have overpacked my backpack and sort of bent my laptop around or like smashed it against something, I'm not really sure. But the A key no longer works at all. And neither do 10 other keys on my keyboard. So we've got a new laptop. I was going to just buy myself a really cheap laptop again, but my boyfriend convinced me that I deserve to have nice things and I deserve to have a MacBook Air. Apparently. Dear God, I really did not need this expensive of a laptop. I've got a PC. The entire point of this is for me to be able to write my book not on my desk. Everything else, like video editing, digital art, photo editing, all of that stuff I normally do on my PC. I guess now I can use my laptop for that as well, if I wanted to. That could be a possibility. I'm so excited. I know this is just a box, but I love it already.
I've been seeking for the glory. Say my name. And I've been trying to write my own story in the search for fame. I'm sitting here in this empty room. Walls keep tumbling down. 'Cause I ain't got nobody. I always feel so lonely when the day is through. I'm in the spotlight, night on till midnight. I want somebody to hold my hand. 'Cause I got my head in the clouds, but I'm getting really scared of heights. I used to spend time with all my friends, but who's gonna like me if I'm not there? 'Cause I got my head in the clouds, but I'm getting really scared of heights.
Hello there. I feel like this vlog has been a little bit all over the place in terms of pacing, just because so many things have been happening at the same time. I got my new laptop, which is right here. She is so beautiful. I love her so much. But I got it on Friday, and as soon as I turned it on, pretty much it wanted to install some software updates, which took almost 2 hours. So I went to bed. And then on Saturday I had planned to do a little writing date at Malins, which you should have seen the footage of. And I wasn't actually sure if my laptop was gonna be arriving on Friday. I thought I would be getting it Monday. So my plan was to take my old laptop and borrow a Bluetooth keyboard at Malins. But it arrived, so I had to take it with me on my writing date. So I last minute set up everything I needed first thing on Saturday. I would probably say that it's still not fully set up. Like, I downloaded a word processor, I downloaded the Notion app, and I'm pretty sure that's all I did. But that was all I needed, because all I needed it for was to do some writing at Malins, and now that I have a bit more time, I can set it up properly and go through and customize the settings, get a proper background, etc, etc. But yeah, I'm so happy with it. The screen is so nice. I'm just really enjoying writing on it. The keyboard is so nice as well. Like, I hadn't realized, but I think I've been pressing my last keys a little bit too hard because they were starting to break. Typing on this feels so comfortable. It's like typing on air. Everything's so light and it just sort of works, and nothing about it is broken. It is so perfect. It's been an absolute pleasure to write with it yesterday. It was also really nice to just have some dedicated writing time with Malin yesterday. We had a little brunch situation, and then we did some writing sprints. So we did like 35 minutes with then like little breaks in between, basically like we're doing a writing sprint but on her kitchen table. Absolutely loved that. I think it's so much fun to have a writing friend nearby that I can do that sort of thing with. In terms of how the writing is actually going, it's been going okay. So last week I think I was struggling with like it being my first full week back at work after the holidays. I was feeling pretty tired, and I originally tried to write in the evenings like I normally do. I still sometimes write in the mornings, but sometimes use the mornings for video editing or admin stuff because I'm a bit more tired, so like doing difficult creative work at 6 a.m. is not always the best. But I've been getting home from work and being just so tired recently. It doesn't help that the times changed while I was on holiday, so like it's just completely dark now. So I've been trying to get back to writing in the mornings, and that means that I'm not getting as much done because unlike in the evening, there's a cutoff point where I have to stop writing and run out of the house so I'm not late for work. And that's okay, but I feel like I'm kind of falling behind a bit. Like I'm still doing my minimum 10 minutes of writing per day, but if I've already done 20 minutes in the morning, I'm less likely to sit back down in the evening. So I'm doing about 20 minutes every day over breakfast as opposed to coming back from work and sometimes doing 10 minutes, sometimes doing an hour. So it's a lot more consistent, but it's a lot less time overall. And then the other side of this is that I brainstormed a bunch of chapters for writing when I was traveling. And yesterday, while I was at Mellon's, I did a whole bunch of them. I finished one that I was halfway on. I finished another one that I was also halfway on. I was a bit all over the place. I was writing out of order when I was traveling, so I had a lot of unfinished chapters lined up. So I finished 2 of them and made some good progress on a third one that was also half finished. And that third one is actually the last chapter that I had fully outlined from before I went traveling, which means that we need to do some brainstorming if I want to continue writing at this point. And I'm not feeling super good about that. I've been just a little bit overwhelmed by everything that's still missing. Like, I have all the puzzle pieces in my brain, but they're not clicking together yet. Everything feels a bit much, like there's so many revelations that are happening at this later stage in the book, and so much information that I need to convey to both the characters and the reader. And it's just feeling very info-dumpy at the minute. Like the original draft felt very info-dumpy at this stage. And I'm trying to figure out how to make it better but still have the same amount of information. But also there's some new information that was missing from draft 1, so if anything it's going to get worse. And I'm also realizing that I missed some parts in my outline in Act 2. And I'm not really sure where to thread them in at the minute. It just feels like I'm juggling a lot of information, and a lot of it is not even in my brain. Like I don't feel like I have a good enough grasp in my memory of like what the current story is for me to be able to make decisions about it. But I've also only just done a reread. I don't want to do another reread, but maybe I might have to. I don't know. Either way, I think today I really want to focus on brainstorming and trying to get as many decisions at least about the upcoming chapters as I can, so I can do some writing Monday to Friday without having to break my brain over problem solving. So that's the goal for today. I'm doing a stream in 20 minutes, so I need to get ready. And I did some brainstorming this morning as well, so I'm hoping, yeah, just to get... I don't have to solve every single problem today. I just need to make some progress and some figuring stuff out type progress, because I feel like with the whole November drafting challenges going around, I've been doing a lot of drafting, but I haven't been doing a lot of thinking, and I need to do more thinking. So with that in mind, I am going to be writing a grand total of 0 words today, and we're just gonna have a big thinking day, a big figuring stuff out day, and hopefully I can feel like I'm going into some of these chapters a little bit more prepared.